Heyo! Hello, what's up? I'm just back from Kuro Bakery, which is in Notting Hill, and I just got a croissant and some gluten-free almond cookie and a mocha. I'm just gonna have a little bit of a breakfast brunch situation, and I just want to talk about my experience at Kingston University learning user experience design. So if you have any questions, issues, I hope to sort them out for people who might want to consider Kingston University as a university for their UX design master's degree. But before that, real quick, I just really want to have breakfast or brunch with the stuff that I have. Let's get a quick fix for the stomach and then we can begin. Let's go.
Stop it.
And I'll see you after lunch. Hey! So I'm kind of 3 months into the course, and I just want to talk about my experience to whoever might be interested in knowing what the projects are about, what the modules are about, what kind of research you're going to do, what kind of processes you would use for your user experience project. Maybe you can use this as a guidebook to decide whether or not you want to actually study in this university, whether it's actually worth the money or whether it's something that you actually want to do. So it's just my experience. We are 3 months into the course, so it's kind of like the end of term 2. I was from the January intake, and maybe walking through the process would be like really nice way of helping people understand what the course is about and what the university is about, what the atmosphere is, and get to know about the course. Okay, so we can begin. I come from the January intake, so I started around the 15th of January, and the way that January intake sort of works is, for example, let's take the year 2025. If people who already start from September 2025 have their first term or the first semester from September to December, and then their second term or second semester is from January to end of April. So when you come into the batch of September intake, which means your first term is going to be the second term of the September intake. So it might sometimes feel like you are in a space where something has already started and you're trying to catch up to something, and it's not exactly the most pleasant feeling when you're coming to London for the first time. It can be a little confusing, but that's just how the course is structured, specifically for people who are from the January intake, because you are joining in the middle of the term. You're joining in as a part of the second semester. There is an induction that happens for the first 2 days. They're just going to introduce you to different classrooms, the spaces, what kind of different facilities Kingston University has. So that happens the first 2 days of when you join and start at the university. So there's no classes the first 2 days, and then it's just like an introduction and orientation onboarding of sorts where you're given some sort of information. For UX, the induction is going to be with other people like game design, UX design, animation. Everyone's going to be together, so it feels like really overwhelming, but that's not going to be your whole class. You're just going to have some classes together, which I think eventually works out. It's fine. After you have your induction, you've got 1 week to kind of figure it out. For UX, then your classes begin. You have classes every single day, unfortunately. It's not in person every single day, so you have to go in person, attend the classes on campus twice a week, and then the rest of the 3 days it's online, which you attend from team meetings. So Microsoft is how the entire university sort of functions, and you have to get the Kingston University app, you have to get the Canvas app, and you have to get like the Seats app, the 3 main important apps that you require to be able to function well at university, because the Kingston University app is going to give you the bus schedule, it's going to give you a schedule about your own calendar. So it's going to tell you when you have classes, when you have submissions, everything is going to have a schedule related to events or something that happens at university. It has multiple different options that you can choose from, which are university related. So that's the Kingston University app. The second app is the Seats app. Seats app is relevant for your attendance. If you are on campus and you forget to tap your ID card at the attendance thing, you need to check in via seats and it automatically updates your attendance. That one's really relevant. And Canvas is for your deadlines, your coursework, and all that sort of stuff. So you need all these 3 apps. You have classes every single day. I hope they eventually change it. It's really demanding, but it's like 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, and you've got a lot of different topics that they cover on with their lectures. It's the time of sunset, if you can see right behind over here. Nice, right? So let's talk about the module now. There are 2 different projects that you have to do as a part of the module for UX. The first one is going to be UX for emerging technology, and the second one is going to be design thinking theory and practice. So I am like 3 months in now with the project, so the deadlines are coming up. So there's going to be continuous deadlines, like one after another in the next 5 days, every weekend from now. Then I'm going to be super busy. I'm just gonna walk you through like the process of what happens and what you're supposed to do with it. So let's talk about design thinking theory and practice. Design thinking is about following a particular design thinking process. For us, it's going to be the Stanford design thinking process, but step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. And what you're supposed to do is just like 1 month from beginning your course, you're supposed to submit a proposal for that project where you choose a topic of your liking that you want to work on. You have to propose a project that kind of helps solve a problem within the context of user experience design. So it will eventually kind of end up with you designing an app or a web platform, and it has to be a relevant problem in the industry. So I have a warning for the people over here. You have to choose a topic where you can find participants to interview. In the part of in the process of design in this, you have to be a little bit of an extrovert. So if you're an introvert, put your big girl pants on. There are 3 most important requirements when it comes to this project. The first one is you have to interview people. The second one is you have to conduct co-creation or co-design workshops with the relevant people. And number 3, you have to test with participants. The process is really official. You have to have consent forms, you have to have your ethical documents ready, and you have to do your research on the basis of your project. And you have to be able to find people to do the whole process with. So you have to find 5 participants, 8 participants minimum to interview. You have to find 5 participants minimum to do a co-creation workshop, and you have to find at least 5 participants to test your project with. And once you have your testing results, you can then validate your project or reiterate and create better designs. So designing is a very little part of the overall process. Majority of it is going to be research. A lot of it is going to be time management and data management. So you have to be super organized with your overall process. So like I said, in this process there are 5 to 6 stages, and if you include iteration, and this is the Stanford design kind of process that you have to follow. And it's not that the course is super difficult. I think 3 months in, I feel like it's just really intense and it demands a lot from you with the interviews and the co-creation, because if you have a back-to-back interviews lined up to take interviews of people and then give interviews to people, it can become quite overwhelming sometimes, and that can lead to exhaustion. So you have to be really careful, and you have to be really on time and manage your time well. So after this, you have the co-creation workshops and the testing phase for design thinking theory and practice. So you have to choose a problem or a topic of interest that is accessible to you. For example, the topic that I'm working on is related to friendship on campus. I can easily find participants because everyone is a participant, and I can interview them. But there are people who might be solving a problem for blind people, for example, but it's very hard to get access to blind people. You can get access to blind people, but it can be difficult for certain people who, you have to work extra hard, and it's a lot. It's like extra work you have to do on top of your own work, which can be a little bit difficult. Okay, so that's the process for design thinking theory and practice. And you have to basically, in the proposal, you have to submit your plans for the project, what the proposal is going to cover, some amount of secondary research, and then submit a proposal. And once you submit the proposal, that's for 20% of your marking. The rest of the 80% is going to be like a portfolio. So you do all of the stuff that you kind of promised in your proposal, and then you create a report from it, and then you submit it, including the design of the website or the platform or the app, which is called a prototype. You test it with people, and then you have the results of it. So that's the first project. And the second project is UX for emerging technology. I personally love this module. I feel like it's super interesting. It has a lot of opportunity, and you can really use this to be super creative and add a lot of interesting projects to your portfolio, especially when you're job hunting. You have to be very smart with the topic that you choose, but I'll get to that later. UX for emerging technology is a module that focuses on emerging tech in the future and near future. So the important thing is that you have to choose a topic that covers an ideology of the future. You have to use a new technology in your design. It could be speculative design, but it needs to still be rooted in reality. And it has to include a new form of technology. So a lot of people are doing a lot of things that includes AI. A lot of people are doing speculative design work, but because there is some part of imagination in it, I feel like there's opportunity, there's chance to be better. So this one uses the process of lean UX, which is fast iteration, fast testing, and you have to create proto personas. You do have to interview at least 5 participants for this one, and you use that information to create, to kind of just speculate and understand whether your idea is necessary, whether your problem is something that people require at all in their day-to-day lives. And if they do, then you kind of use that information to create a proto persona. A proto persona is an imagined persona of the kind of user that is going to use your product. You're just going to put into with your own speculation and your understanding of this user, you're going to put in the main details of this person's proto persona's goals, problems, their needs, and use that information to create a product. And when you create the product, you can test it with actual people really quickly, really rapidly, really fast, and then use that to just create your design. And you have to keep testing, keep reiterating, keep testing, keep reiterating. So the process is not linear, it keeps going back and forth, but it's quite interesting because it has to be super fast. And for this we have to submit a presentation and a report and a prototype of the stuff that we've done. So for this I'm doing something along the lines of a product that kind of attaches itself to your body, like a glucose monitor, and it will give you real-time updates about your body's blood test results in a way. So I'm still in the process of it. I haven't actually done any work for the submission. Please don't tell my tutors. But it's quite interesting because then you get a lot of understanding on how to present, how to be efficient in terms of time management, and it's great opportunity again to put your best foot and speculative design in your portfolio because there's so many opportunities for different topics. So yeah, so the process is about 3 months, and 3 months in now we have to kind of submit a topic or think of a topic for our UX project, which is going to be the dissertation project, which is the final project that we have in the center of our terms. Because we are January intake, September intake's final project, final term is our second term, so we do our final project in the middle, and then our last term is going to be new September intake's first term. It can be quite confusing. Again, you just have to be sure to choose a topic that's going to give you a lot of opportunity for interviewing people, or if you choose a difficult topic, just keep in mind that you have to work extra hard to get the participants. Overall, I feel like it is quite well managed, the course. I just feel like there needs to be a little more interaction with the faculty about your own project. That's my kind of like opinion about it so far. But I do think it is relevant to industry practice, and I think teachers and the university is very open to students' feedback, and they take every opportunity that they can get to listen to you. They will make sure that they satisfy you in the stuff that you ask for or in any requirements. For anyone who wants to join university and is stressed about all of this, there are resources that are available for help. For example, if you think you can't submit in time, you can get mitigating circumstances, which is like you have to give proof for the fact that you're probably sick or something like that, and then you get a 10-day extension on the deadline of your work, which is super helpful when something goes wrong, which can happen to anyone. Kingston as a suburb is great. I guess like I don't live in Kingston. I'm not a big fan of Kingston in general, but I feel like when it comes to the university spaces, they've given you everything that you need. They've got study spaces. You can book rooms in the library where you can just sit all day and do your own work, which is super helpful, especially if you're choosing to live in the student accommodation. And yeah, sure, so I think that was it for now. I'm just gonna leave you with this information. Do with it what you want, and if you want any other questions answered, I'm pretty sure there'll be more questions after this, because I'm pretty sure I just said from the top of my head whatever I could feel like. So I'm just gonna leave it here, and if anyone actually sees this video, if you want a deeper dive into what these particular topics mean, I can make a new video on it, and I'd be super excited to do that, because it'd be like a nice communication between people who want to study UX at Kingston University. I can talk about whatever. So if you have any questions, please do ask me, DM me, you can send me a message on Instagram if you want, and I'll be happy to answer. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!